Welcome back to Primetime Super Friends, the show that puts the arrow in your quiver, the bat in your belfry, and the flash in your pan. I'm John, your guide for all things Gotham. I'm sitting here with my very own Super Friends. On my left is the guru of Central City, Michael.
Hello.
And to my right is the expert on all things Star City, Jeremy.
Hi.
Let's get this out of the way early. There's going to be a ton of spoilers, so if you're not up to date on these shows, you have been warned. All right, so we're going to start things off with Gotham this week. It was entitled Harvey Dent, who was barely in it. I'm kind of okay with that, but we'll get into that. All right, so let's start off with Bruce's storyline this week. We had a scenario where, Jim Gordon took Selina after last week's episode and brought her to Wayne Manor so that she can stay with Alfred and Bruce, kind of as a safe house scenario. I felt kind of this was a little unfortunate given that last week's episode, at least in my eyes, was really a good step. You had this removed story with Bruce and Alfred where it was their own isolated event. It didn't involve anything else that was going on in Gotham, and you got to see that kind of relationship there. This kind of brought them back into the mix of everything.
Seemed like a giant step backwards for Bruce's storyline.
That's what I thought. So, we have Selina move in. Obviously, she's like the street kid, which to me was a little more over the top. We haven't seen this in the other episodes where she's like, you wouldn't last a second on the street, Bruce, hey, kind of attitude about things. And it was, I don't know. It was.
Now, don't you want to make out with me?
Right. Oh, not to mention, we did get a scene where, she's like, I'm thirsty. And Alfred's like, well, I'm not cooking you anything. And Bruce is like, no, Alfred, let her go to the kitchen. Guess what she came back with? Michael didn't see this episode. Guess what she came back with, Michael?
I actually have seen this episode. I just remembered.
Oh, wow.
Because I made a joke to Ashley about a saucer of milk.
We've talked about it on here before. What's she going to do? Drink a saucer of milk? This bitch damn near drank a saucer of milk.
Well, she came back with the old-timey milk bottle and glass, and it's like, really?
I was surprised she didn't pull out a bowl, pour it into a bowl,
and just start lapping it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was that was.
She might have wanted to lap that shit up out of Bruce's belly button.
Oh no, I'll pass on that.
Yeah,
I'm just saying there was a lot of awkward.
There was a lot of awkwardness in this.
They're the same age.
I gotcha.
Bruce is trying to find out her past.
I thought he was saying he would pass on lapping it out of his belly button.
Well, I
meant on that scene. I wouldn't lap it out of his belly button either, though.
Good.
I just felt like, to me it came off as Bruce is just really socially awkward, especially after the school thing, and then he's, around Selina, and he talks like a 90-year-old man. He was a child before this show started, right? He hasn't always just been so creepy. At least that's what I assumed.
And he throws like a bitch.
Yeah. How do you miss somebody from 3 feet away with a bagel? But, okay, what did you think of the scene where it's he's performing his own endurance test and he's in the pool?
Why the fuck was he fully clothed?
He had his shoes on. He had a sweater on. I'm just like,
is he preparing for the bat suit?
Yeah, I don't think so. And part of me made me go, okay, maybe he's just like, you never know when you're going to be in a situation like this, so I have to be prepared for all scenarios. But he didn't say anything about that. He's just like, I'm testing myself.
He didn't want Catwoman to see his nipples.
Is that what it is?
He's going to wind up being in that group that can't piss in public.
There it is.
I would assume that the bat suit would have some kind of, filtration system for that very thing.
So you can just drink it afterwards. Purifies it.
Yeah, emergencies. That makes perfect sense.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Good job, Bruce. Anyways, the payoff...
It's not gross, it's sterile.
The payoff moment for this whole scenario is, we have... First of all, she insists that we're calling her Cat again. I just want to throw that out there.
Call that bitch Cat or else.
Right. Bruce gets into the food fight with Selina, in which we finally see him act a little bit like a child. I was actually okay with this, but it was a little awkward that she's like, if you can hit me with that bagel, you can kiss me.
It was like he was trying not to hit her.
Right?
And if you can loop it around my nose, well, fuck.
I don't remember that scene.
It's like a ring toss game.
I don't think that's how that works.
Oh.
This episode's too borderline child fucking.
I know. I mean, it really was, because the whole thing was like, are they going to do it? And you know they will eventually, like when they grow up. So that makes it more awkward.
But the way Gotham's going, it's just going to happen then.
Yeah, they're just going to be 15-year-olds with a baby.
And okay, let's put a pin in the too much foreshadowing, because I'd like to come back to that after we get into some.
You
of the other
can't tell
stuff.
me what to do, John.
I'm just saying, like, there's that's one of the things that drives me nuts about this. All right, so let's get into Harvey Dent a little bit. Jada Smith or whatever must have been pretty happy about this character being added, because this dude chewed the scenery pretty well as bad as she does, at least in my opinion.
I just liked how unpredictable he was in everything that he did.
Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, the flipping
Who's
the
this
coin,
guy? Yeah.
and the fact that half of his face was shadowed.
How'd you know it was going to be heads?
Yeah. I mean, like, it was just, I felt like somebody skimmed the comics real quick and was like, well, there we go.
No, somebody watched The Dark Knight.
Yeah,
They didn't
that
even
makes
read the
sense
comics.
too. Yeah, so I mean, he's introduced.
If they'd read the
me,
comics, he'd have been older than Batman. Or he wouldn't have been older than Batman. I mean, fucking.
he's basically brought into the show with the idea that Montoya and Allen have suggested to Gordon that he should get with Harvey Dent, who's trying to seek out these criminals who aren't known by the public and expose them. I mean, to me, he came off as a guy that's running for, mayor or something with his little speech. Like, it didn't seem genuine. Like, to me, there was no reason to like this guy at all.
Yeah.
We saw that he had the personality disorder where he snaps.
Oh, snap.
They should have saved that. Let him be a good guy for a while before you see him snap.
It just, and that's the thing. Like, I wanted that character, if they were going to introduce him, to be very earnest. Like, you just, I mean, kind of like, I mean, what they did in The Dark Knight, where you legitimately liked Harvey Dent in that movie. He was a good guy who had a good purpose, who just was pushed too far.
Which that bothered me, because they did an interview with that guy, and he talked about the fact that there was going to be no hints of Two-Face at all for a long time on this show.
Yeah,
and
and it was
come right
just
balls out first
straight
episode.
Two-Face.
Yeah.
Like, he got insulted. He snaps on, I didn't even write down the guy's name, the generic businessman that's supposed to be the bad guy. And they literally shadowed half his face. It's too much. Way too much. And that, okay, so that's where I go back to the Selena Kyle, pregnant at 15, friends with Bruce thing. That's my problem with this show, is where is it going? Because obviously if they're not going to turn him into Two-Face before the show ends, or they're not going to make Batman, if they're not going to do like a flash forward or something like that, there's no payoff for these characters.
Yeah.
Like, there's no payoff at all, because he never finally becomes Two-Face. She never finally becomes Catwoman. The only thing I can figure is that they're going to make us accept that, these are now Jim Gordon's rivals, not Batman's rivals.
I think we talked about it a few episodes ago. I hate that they added Harvey Dent, especially as an adult.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, it's too much too fast.
Everything we didn't want to happen fucking happened that we talked about on that episode.
Yeah.
It's just going way too far. So anyways, let's move forward. Penguin, he had a very short story this week. I was fine with that. I thought we needed a little less Penguin after we've given his status. We know where he is. We know what he's doing. Breaks into Liza's house, basically finds out from her perfume that she's working for Fish Mooney. He goes and he smells fish. Fish smells like lilacs. And, then he goes back.
Fishy lilac sounds disgusting.
He goes back and tells Liza he knows what's up, and she should keep doing what she's doing, but report to him instead.
That's like the worst stripper name ever. Fishy lilacs.
Fishy lilacs.
Maybe a porno name. Either way.
It's the name of my high school band, y'all.
Oh, that's the name of our band. Fuck that.
So, yeah, no, I was happy with the minimal Penguin story this week. The main story, which was really kind of a throwaway, was Bullock and Gordon. We meet a mentally ill bomber who, gets abducted by the Russian mob, as far as we know. They make use of him, start committing crimes, robberies, whatever. And Bullock and Gordon track the guy down, save the guy, get him away, try to get him the help he needs by putting him back in Blackgate prison. I thought the Blackgate drop was kind of a cool, finally, acknowledgement.
I forgot that storyline happened.
Yeah, it was completely throwaway. Yeah. But the end result, or what the overall accomplishment they were trying to make out of that, is all of the inmates. There was a confrontation between the mayor and Jim Gordon, in which he says that these people aren't getting the treatment they need in Blackgate. So it results in the mayor opening up Arkham finally and ushering all the inmates who are mentally ill into Arkham, even though Arkham's also ill-equipped to deal with these people. As a main story, it was completely throwaway. I mean, it's like you said.
I literally, until you started talking about it, I could not remember who the villain of the week was.
So I had to think a little bit after you said that. And then I started to remember him making the bomb at the very beginning of the episode.
Well, and roughly we find out that Fish set up all of this going on only to try to steal Falcone's money. In which case, her henchman dude, what was his name? Anybody remember?
Don't give a fuck.
Fishy Lilac.
Fishy Lilac. He blows up the truck that the money was in, therefore everybody lost the money in the scenario, and Fish insisted that it was her plan all along to not get this money or to cost Falcone the money. It did seem like there was a point to that plan, and they just needed scenes for her this week. Riddler makes a little cameo, says he likes to play video games, and a completely pointless reason for him to be in the episode. I don't know. I like the guy that plays him. Seems like he would be the Riddler, but they need to find something good for him to do. And finally, the way we ended the show, or the cliffhanger, and just the worst character in the show, in my opinion, is we get Jim Gordon at the end of the episode leaving a message for Barbara saying he loves her, he needs her, without her he has nothing. And we see that she's in bed with Montoya, having all of that, lesbianic action go down.
Why?
Exactly. Like, I feel like the guy who writes this show is just like, what would be really funny to put on there?
No, he's like, what would make all these fucking dudes watching this cream themselves?
And like, I don't know. It's pointless to me. I don't know. I don't understand why it's in there. If I thought there was legitimately going to be a payoff for it, maybe it'd be something, but I don't.
She just seems like a slutty bitch at this point.
Pretty much, yeah.
Got to fill an hour or 42 minutes, whatever it is.
I'm pretty sure that 30 seconds she was in there could have been cut and the story would have been exactly the same as it was.
But less lesbian action.
Yeah. Hot lesbian action.
I love lesbians! Yeah!
So yeah, that was it for Gotham this week. Any afterthoughts?
It sucked.
Yeah. We had 2 strong episodes, and then this.
This was the worst episode so far.
An unfortunate... I don't know.
3 in a row that I liked.
Really?
Yeah.
You liked this episode?
No, not counting this one. I had 3 in a row up to this one.
Oh, right.
Well, the weird thing is I watch it, and I'm like, I see where this could have been good.
Yeah.
And they need new writers.
Shit.
I don't know why they don't
hire us to write it, honestly.
Right.
Well, I mean, legitimately, hire comic book writers to write this. Zack Snyder's fucking amazing.
I just go back to that dumb interview. It's like they told him to be like, hey, don't act like Two-Face is in it at all, and then it was all Two-Face.
Surprise, bitches.
And I'm just like, it was all Two-Face, and it was all just, like I said, I mean, I really felt like he was just as bad as Jada Pinkett as far as over-the-top acting. I don't know. Okay.
I didn't hate it as much as Jada, probably because I actually care about the Two-Face character, but...
That could be, and I could see that, but I don't know. It was pretty bad.
So that's another area where my frustration is with this shit is that's one of my favorite characters from the Batman universe, and they're just wrecking it.
Well, yep. And again, it's still he becomes Jim Gordon's rival.
That character's got such psychological things that you can explore, and it's so fucking rich, and they're just like, let's put him in the shadows and have him flip a coin.
Well, and again, it's the rush thing. It's they're not giving him time to develop.
Yeah.
It's instantly, hey, by the way, guys, this is the guy that's Two-Face. If you didn't catch it, like, it's going to be Two-Face.
Yeah.
He's got that coin. Well, that coin's going to come into play later. And he's a good dude, but he might not be a good dude.
I couldn't even look at the fucking TV. That whole scene, where that interaction between him, the very first one between him and Gordon, showing the coin after he just talked to that kid. Just like, I can't fucking look at this. This is horrible.
Lovecraft. That was the name of the guy he was interrogating.
Well, here's the deal. The Dark Knight is one of the most viewed movies in the history of movies. Everyone knows who Harvey Dent is. You don't have to fucking beat somebody over the head with the dick that is Two-Face.
All right, let's move on. I'm just getting angrier. Let's get out of Gotham and head to Central City.
We start off the show this week once again with the Streak showing up and trying to convince Iris to stop blogging about him because it opens her up to being targeted by the bad metahumans. Their chat is cut short by a bunch of sirens as cops chase down a yellow Hummer that is tearing through the streets.
I love that they made a joke during that about someone said, who steals a yellow Hummer? And then the other person remarked, who buys a yellow Hummer? Just because, sorry, that's just like a douchey vehicle to me.
Yeah. And I remember...
I love Hummers.
We're talking about a car, or SUV, whatever you want to call it.
I stand by my statement.
We were doing Katrina relief, and some dude just pulled up in a yellow Hummer behind our trucks while we're down. He's like, "You guys need a hand, bro?" And followed us out to fucking rescue these people. And the water's just getting higher to where it's almost into the cabs of our trucks. And he's still trying to drive his Hummer through there. And I'm like, "Go home, bro." What are you doing?
Hey, he was a bro with a heart.
Was he a GI bro?
So this douche is driving the Hummer, almost hits a kid, but Barry speeds in, saves the kid. During this, Detective Eddie Thawne lands a couple bullets in this dude's face, but nothing happens. During this, you see Barry try to get in a fight with this guy, and it was at this point that Barry starts trying to punch him a bunch, and at one of the punches that Barry lands breaks his hand.
13 fractures. That's a new record, and that's just in your hand. You also have a concussion, 3 cracked ribs, and a bruised spleen. Even with your powers, you'll need a few hours to heal.
And Barry heads back to Star Labs to let him know what happened, that there's another metahuman out there. At this point, Harrison Wells says, interesting, a man of steel.
Interesting. A man of steel.
What?
Okay, that being said, would anybody else mark out a little bit if they were to, at some point, just have, as a cameo, Clark Kent show up, played by Tom Welling?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, that would be amazing. But
Be a fucking break. Yeah.
I mean, to me, it seems feasible that they could do that. It's the same company,
Feasible.
same people. What has he done lately?
So back at the police station, Joe is rewatching Little Barry's testimony from the night his mom got killed, and he's putting two and together that there's probably a metahuman that could run super fast that killed her. That's when Barry comes in and Joe pretends like he's watching something else. Barry explains to Joe that the guy driving the Hummer was a metahuman. While at the police station, they get a briefing talking about the bad guy's info, that his name is Tony Woodward, which triggers a memory from Barry's elementary school days. Apparently when Barry was a kid, he got picked on by this guy, Tony Woodward. Back at Star Labs, Joe shows up to talk to Dr. Wells about Barry's mom's case, and Wells looks like he's up to something like he always does. At the same time, Caitlin and Cisco unveil their latest invention, a karate robot. A karate robot to help Barry train against the bad guy they keep referring to as Tony. In the comics, apparently they called him Girder. The stolen Hummer has been found with 2 kegs from a Keystone microbrewery, and Barry finds some metallic pebbles on the floor. Back at Star Labs, Joe and Harrison are going over the West murder, and Joe asks Wells if it's possible she was killed by a metahuman, and Wells plays it off like it couldn't have happened. Back at the brewery, Eddie and Barry show up with a photo talking to the workers there, a photo of Tony, and one dude with some seriously jacked up teeth runs for it. Eddie and Barry try to chase him down. Barry, of course, is able to catch up to him because he's super quick and whatnot. They shake him for answers, and he rattles off Tony's origin story. Apparently, he was going to get laid off from the ironworks, went crazy and started punching people. So they accidentally threw him into a pot of molten metal right as the reactor was spewing metahuman particles all over Central and Keystone cities.
Keystone City, the home of Wally West. That's another Flash.
Who the fuck is Wally West? That's the reason Iris is black. Because they're going to try to tie him in later.
That's when they said Keystone City, I was like, fuck yes.
You think it'll happen? It can't happen this season.
Oh, no, but later.
But at least plant the seeds.
They're saying, hey, it's nearby,
Right on.
essentially.
Back at Star Labs, Cisco's tracked the metal from a Hummer to a metalworks in Keystone, and Caitlin shows him a blog post that Iris put up to get Barry's attention regarding Tony. Barry heads over to Iris, and she gives him her info, telling Barry about how Tony transformed his hand. Barry then heads over to the metalworks, thanks to Cisco, and gets his ass beat again. We cut to Wells meeting Joe for a drink at a bar, and Joe kind of blindsides Wells with the accusation that he might have killed Barry's mom, as he sort of showed up in town right after the murder. Wells, of course, tries to shut it down, but not before telling Joe to look up a Tess Morgan before getting the hell out of there. Okay, so Cisco winds up working out exactly how fast Barry would have to punch this metal dude in the face for it to actually do something. In their next fight scene, Barry's able to get up to the speed and punches the dude out. And Iris punches him too, just for kicks. So they take the dude, lock him up in the pipeline underneath Star Labs. At this point, Joe shows up to Star Labs with liquor, trying to smooth things over with Dr. Wells, who tells him about Tess Morgan, that it was his former lab partner and wife. She died in a car wreck, and Wells, unable to get over his loss, moved to Star Labs and continued research. Barry finds Iris at her coffee shop, and they wind up talking it over and become friends again. Iris starts talking about the streak, mentions a Burning Man, who must be Firestorm. And at this point, Iris comes up with the idea of calling the streak the Flash.
When he moves, Barry, you don't even see him. He comes and goes in the blink of an eye in a
Flash?
flash.
So then we come to the end of the episode where we get our twist, and instead of Harrison Wells in his usual what the fuck is he up to moment, we have Joe West sitting around reviewing the West case files when a weird yellow streak circles around his living room, taking all the paperwork and leaving his very unsuitable warning for Joe.
So we had a picture of Iris on the wall with a knife through it that says "Stop or else."
So coming out of that, I mean, what did you think? Did you think that this insinuates again that it's Wells, or
it's him?
Do you think that they're doing like the "we'll throw you the swerve" that makes you think maybe it is, maybe it isn't again?
I mean, they're definitely trying to point you at Wells. I just don't know that I think it's him.
I think it's still too on the nose. I think this show wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And that's what I think. I think it's going to turn out to be somebody else.
I still think it's going to be Eddie Thawne. I still think I'm going to hold to that.
I'm kind of with you. I'm in your camp there. Now the thing that really kind of gets me though is like, who is Wells then? And
definitely in on it.
Well, I keep wanting to go back to like maybe he's the Flash from the future or something like that. But then again, he killed the guy.
I just love how you don't fucking know. Right?
No,
I love that part about
that's why I was
show.
gonna get into, or where I was leading with that is that's the thing that this show has that Gotham is sorely lacking in the way that like there is that like, I gotta find this out. Like, I have to see this pay out one way or another.
Right. Even
if it's shitty, at least then it's held my interest until that point. All right, so let's end it with Central City there and move on to our expert in Star City. Jeremy, what happened this week?
All right, so when we start off the episode, we flash back to 6 months ago during the siege that was led by Deathstroke. And we see Arrow saving a woman from one of the Mirakuru soldiers. And then we cut back to present day and we see Detective Lance and Arrow have found the body of the villain from last week, dressed up in essentially an Arrow hoodie. They find a heart/spade-shaped arrowhead through this guy's chest. Our Hong Kong flashbacks this week deal with the Asian guy that Oliver's staying with. He's going to the docks to investigate something for Argus. He doesn't check in with his wife for a long period of time, and she kind of starts freaking out. They can't get in contact with him, so Oliver goes with the wife to investigate and see what's going on. So they show up, and I guess the Triad thugs tell them, hey, 3 Argus members were killed tonight. It's assumed that this dude's one of them. We get a scene where it's revealed that dude's wife is kind of a bad bitch. She's got a sword and she's fucking motherfuckers up left and right, which made her a little sexy.
I just love fucking motherfuckers up.
Did anyone watch The Wolverine?
Yeah,
Is this
she
the
reminded
same
me
chick?
of that chick, but I don't know if it's the same one. They all look alike.
That's racist.
At the end of the episode, we see kind of the conclusion to the Hong Kong storyline for this week. They return back home, and dude is there playing with the kid. He's alive and well. Wants to know where the hell they've been. He says, I'm sorry, I should have checked in, but Waller had us on lockdown because 3 members were killed tonight. Oliver decides to go do a little laundry, give them some alone time. So meanwhile, back in Star City, present day, Ray Palmer is doing, I don't know what to call this workout, but that shit with the bar where they're like climbing up the little steps. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Does that have a
American Ninja
name?
Warrior. I don't know. It's just on the American Ninja Warrior thing.
The thing that Felicity likes to watch Oliver do.
Yeah, she realizes she's got a type.
It's like her new dating criteria is, here,
Yeah.
take this bar. Show me what you can do.
Show me what you're working with.
What would she do if they didn't have one of those apparatuses to try that?
I assume she put one up in her apartment.
Or just like take them to the monkey bars
I
or
just
something?
picture myself in like my head doing that, and it's just I take a running jump at it and hit the bottom of the bars and like knock myself out. That'd pretty much be the end of it.
I guarantee you when I tried to do the first rung, I would just fall and that bar would fall on my neck and I'd be done.
Yeah, see, in my head, I'm short, and I couldn't even get it up to the bar or to the first rung, and it's just me jumping at it and falling over.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing that somehow involving Felicity's vagina. I was tuned out for a minute. I'm sorry.
It's not a pole vault.
I was about to make a pole vault joke. I really was. After he gets done with his little workout, Ray invites Felicity to dinner for a business meeting. Says it'll be purely platonic, which we all know is total bullshit.
Sorry, back to the bar thing. That was in his office, right?
Yeah.
That's not awkward at all.
This dude doesn't have a home,
Yeah.
I've decided. Because he's doing all of his secret shit in his office. We see that he bought a dress for Felicity that she just loves or whatever and agrees to go to dinner. Find out that he is renaming Queen Consolidated to Palmer Technologies, which pisses Oliver off pretty good. I have a feeling that's not what he was really mad about, y'all.
I don't think so either.
We get several scenes through the course of the episode that involve Diggle trying to talk to both Felicity and Oliver about their feelings for one another and why they should just go ahead and fuck and get it over with.
Like three-way?
Bro Code Article 34. Bros cannot make eye contact during a devil's three-way. Two dudes.
Or maybe he means date.
No.
No, like Oliver and Felicity need to be
okay.
together type thing.
Diggle's being the voice of wisdom. Like,
Yeah.
dude, you're going to lose it.
Yeah. Well, he actually goes and visits Felicity in her office and kind of tries to talk her into not doing shit with Ray Palmer as well. And she's like, hey, if Oliver's got a problem with it, he should be the one to talk to me, which fucking touche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, meanwhile, we've got our villain of the week is this female archer we saw at the beginning of the episode. She's calling herself Cupid. She's in love with Arrow and tells him that she wants to give him what he really wants, which is essentially killing his enemies. And she wants them to be together. Her real name is Carrie Cutter. Essentially, her secret origins are she was the first female member of SWAT. And ever since Oliver saved her from the Mirakuru soldiers seen at the beginning of the episode, she's been stalking him, showing up at all his crime scenes, and now she's taken out people that have broken the law or that have, well, they would have broken the law if they run into Arrow probably, but she's taken out people that he doesn't like. And by taking out, I mean fucking murder. We get a couple scenes with Roy Arsenal. He's feeling a little blue about the fact that he's a murderer. Doesn't want to talk about it for some reason. And that comes up a few different times. Thea's storyline, she returns this week. And she's trying to find a DJ for her club. She's holding auditions. And this cocky douchebag with long blonde hair shows up. Tells her he's not going to audition, but she needs to hire him because the rest of them suck a bag of dicks. She tells him, hey, if you're not auditioning, you can't get the job.
Auditions are over. Thanks for coming, guys. Hey, peace out.
Wait, what are you doing? Auditions are not over.
Trust me, I'm saving you from wasting your day here.
I don't need saving from anyone, and if you're really as good as you say you are, then you can just wait in line and prove it like everyone else.
I don't audition.
Then you don't work for me or for my club, so the exit's that way.
Later, princess.
Later on in the episode, he shows back up, of course, and saves the club from a shitty DJ. Plays a little Turn Down for What?
Turn down for what?
And then towards the end of the episode, he ends up kissing Thea and telling her, hey, you can keep the money. It's my gift to you because you're a whore, so a kiss is worth however much money that is. He didn't say that last part, but... It just felt a little bit like prostitution, but whatever. In our first fight scene between...
I'm sorry, damn you, because I've got turned down for what?
Oh, I cut it in too.
Turn down for what?
In our first fight scene with Cupid, she takes down Arsenal, confronts Arrow, basically says, hey, you know, we're meant to be together. And he tells her, bitch, you crazy. You need some help. And she tells him, I'm not crazy. If I'm crazy, it's because I'm in love. Love is crazy.
Hello, lover.
If you hurt him,
I didn't touch him, boyfriend. I'm a one-guy woman. But I am a little disappointed you brought your wingman. Tonight's not about him. It's about us. Together against the world. Just like we were meant to be.
There is no we.
We're more like one soul, you're right. You and I are more alike than you think.
Carrie, listen to me. You're not well.
If I'm out of my mind, it's because that's what love is. Our own little slice of insanity.
Red flag, red flag, red flag.
Right?
Is that a level 5 clinger?
I don't. I'm sorry, that bitch is sexy. Worth it.
Yeah, no, she's a very pretty girl. I was talking to Jeremy before the show. This chick apparently auditioned originally to play the part of Laurel.
If she was on,
Should have made that happen.
if she was on the show every week, I might have to watch it with a bottle of lotion.
Too much information.
Whatever.
You do that anyways.
I do.
Stephen Amell.
No, dude that plays Diggle.
Oh, okay, cool.
Little Jungle Fever.
Yeah, good with that. He seems like he'd take care of you.
Yeah. He
With his big black cock.
That's right. Turned down for what?
Turn down for what?
Oh, turned down to avoid anal bleeding. So Oliver saves this dude that Cupid has hostage, which it's obviously a bad guy, but I thought it was fucking hilarious. He saves this dude, and the dude's like, "Oh my god, I never thought I'd be glad to see you," and he just fucking punches him right in the mouth. So after that confrontation, Arrow has to figure out what the hell to do about this bitch. So he visits her therapist, and she basically says, "Hey, she's fucking nuts. She gets fixated on one person and like has to have that person, and if you lie to her, she's gonna know." Also recommends a little therapy for Arrow. Back to the Ray Palmer Felicity storyline. He gets her a some sort of diamond necklace. Ironically, not a pearl necklace. I really thought they might go that route.
It looked like it was heading that way for a minute.
Yeah, it did. They go to dinner with these people that Ray Palmer is essentially trying to buy their business, and they're not wanting to sell until Felicity gives a really heartfelt, whatever, one of those, oh, you can tell they're gonna fuck moments where she tells these guys how great Ray Palmer is, and if he wants the company, it's only to do good things.
Did Ray have a chance to tell you about his plans for your mineral deposits in Nevada?
No, Miss Smoke. As I mentioned, I'm not interested in selling.
Please, call me Felicity. And I don't blame you for not wanting to sell Ray your mine. Because you don't know what his plans are. I mean, the thing about Ray is he's not a businessman. Businessmen make deals. They make money. What Ray is something else entirely.
Perhaps you could enlighten us.
He inspires. Ray isn't interested in making money. He's interested in making the world a better place. So if Ray wants your mine, believe me, it's because he's going to put it to the kind of use that's going to make you proud.
The whole time I'm just going, you're a whore. Barry Allen, Oliver Queen, Ray Palmer, you slut. You super
She's slept
slut.
with them yet, though.
She's going to.
She's just testing out the bases.
In her mind's eye, she has.
Oh, yeah.
Whore. You think it, you're a whore.
Really?
Yes.
That's
I'm-
where you stand?
Yes.
Somehow, that's
Sluts. I know what you're thinking, bitch.
Michael playing the part of the right-wing conservative.
That's how I live my life. It's okay.
She's just
That's
sitting there.
not true. Tune into Pub Talk Podcast and find out why that's not true.
Chastity belt and all.
Bullshit.
By the way, she is not. I mean, she's still so fuckable, but without the glasses,
Not as hot.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Looks like a completely different person.
Yeah. Like, I think she could walk past me on the street without those glasses, and I wouldn't know it's her.
We were talking about Felicity, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because when we were watching...
No, we were talking about Ray Palmer.
Just making sure. No, when we were watching I was watching The Flash when she was on there.
Yeah.
When she comes in there without the glasses on, I'm like, no, not
It'd
as-
be one of those
not as
things where it's
much.
like, she looks familiar.
Yeah. Yeah, it always throws me off because she's been on several episodes now without her glasses when they go fancy dinners and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm like,
Nope.
put them back on. Take everything else off and put those glasses on. So Cupid has some guy she's working with, some nerd, computer nerd, triangulate Arrow's response time to various crime scenes, etc. Triangulates to the club. After this dude gives her the location of, or the rough location of Arrow's secret headquarters, she murders this motherfucker because he's just trying to bang her. Don't blame him. And it might have been worth it if he had actually gotten to do it. She's pretty fucking sexy. That's all I'm saying. Stab her first.
What?
With his dick.
Oh.
So after she gets this information, Carrie Cupid shows up at the club. Arrow figures out that she's realized where his headquarters is and calls her up and convinces her to meet elsewhere. And she basically tells him, hey, if you fuck me over, I'm gonna murder everyone in this sumbitch. So of course we get the fight scene, the final fight scene between Cupid and Arrow. And before they fight, essentially, you know, he tells her, hey, I'm not your fucking lover, lady, but you should be. He ends up giving her a speech about how he can't be with anyone, yada, yada, yada. Felicity, of course, can hear what he's saying because she's back at the headquarters helping track this bitch.
Hello, lover.
Not your lover.
Well, maybe not yet, but after one night with me, that'll all change. I promise.
Gary, I'm here to help you because you're not well.
Don't ever say that again. You sound like that shrink that they sent me to.
I spoke to her.
You talked to that psycho. She just wanted me to take pills, pills, pills. She thinks that love is the disease. But it's not. Love is the cure.
I'm not the man you think I am.
You're a hero. You saved me.
I understand that you're hurting. And I know what it's like to want someone, but not be able to be with them. How you wish things could be different, but they can't. I can't be with you. I can't be with anyone. I have to be alone.
No, you don't. You're a liar.
Kind of see a look on her face like, oh, no, he didn't. They end up falling through some sort of grate or whatever down to the subway tracks below, where Cupid fucking handcuffs Oliver to the train tracks and says, hey, if I can't have you, then no one can, and they're both going to die. She's standing on the train tracks waiting to get hit by a train. Of course, he's handcuffed, so he's going to fucking die too, until he smashes his fucking thumb out of socket to get out of the handcuffs.
That was pretty badass.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool to see.
Yeah. Where he tackles her off of the train tracks, and we really don't see necessarily how that plays out at the end of that fight, but she gets tackled and, oh, I knew you loved me, and we cut out of that scene. When we come back, Oliver's talking to Diggle and basically saying, hey, she doesn't belong in prison, so he has turned her over to Amanda Wallard and the Suicide Squad.
Awesome.
Yep.
Then our kind of wrap-up scenes for the week, we've got Diggle telling Oliver, hey, man, you should have seen the way this bitch was looking when she heard what you said to Cupid about not being with anyone. You need to go tell her how you feel before it's too late. And Oliver takes his advice and tries to go talk to Felicity at work. And, of course, he walks in on Ray Palmer and Felicity mugging. Of course, they don't see that he's there and witnessing this. He just turns around and leaves, goes back to the club and starts wrecking shit. Roy walks in and asks him if he's okay. He says, no, not really, and you're not either. So let's go eat with the Diggles. They have a nice little Thanksgiving meal or something, I guess. I don't know, some sort of meal. And then our kind of nut moments for this week. We get back to Ray Palmer, and we see he has a rendering of the Atom suit that he's looking at.
Which is like the Iron Man suit?
It looked a little bit like that, I guess.
I think we're supposed to kind of get the impression that maybe he's not a good dude after that or something like that. Like maybe he's, up to something shady.
I didn't get that vibe.
I'm kind of wondering if it's like that's his plan to make that suit in order to be able to mine whatever they're, trying to get out of there.
In any event, he was looking at a rendering of this suit.
Yeah.
And then our final scene for the week, we see some guy running from another guy, which it turns out to be Captain Boomerang, who basically says, hey, all of this shit always comes back on you. You know, it always comes back to haunt you. Throws a boomerang, kills the motherfucker, and I mean, we're getting Suicide Squad soon.
That's fucking awesome.
Which, you know, I like the guy that's playing him. He's another Spartacus cast member. So, you know, if Manu Bennett's any, you know, I guess indication, that's a good way to go. But that line to me was one of the most cheesy lines I think the show's ever had. Like, I mean, it was really, like, cheesing it up. I don't know. Maybe
Captain Boomerang is cheesy as fuck. So.
Well, his name is Captain Boomerang. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and I enjoyed the Cupid thing. I thought it was, I mean, that bitch was sexy. It was a decent villain of the week.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely one of the least, I guess, plot progressive episodes, but still, it just doesn't seem to be able to miss lately.
Yeah.
Arrow hits the target.
Tee-hee. If it was on Gotham, they would fucking say that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then look at the camera or something. All right, so that's going to do it for another episode of Primetime Super Friends. If you'd like, head over to iTunes and Stitcher, where you can rate, subscribe, and review.
Do it whether you like or not, damn it.
And as always, you can check us out on Pub Talk Podcast, where our antics get a little further out of hand. A lot further out of hand. And as always, you can follow us on Twitter at Primetime Super. And if you up close and personal is more your style, you can follow us each individually. I'm at Raging Leprechaun. Michael.
At the African 81.
And Jeremy.
At Legendary Jeremy.
And as always, keep it super, bitches. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Boobies.
Vagina. Yeah, if they made an action figure of that bitch, I'd buy it just to touch her titties.